this session of modern organization and management. In our today's class, we shall study regarding planning in a changing scenario. Now, when we speak about planning in a changing scenario, this particular concept it actually challenges or questions how important can planning be in a very fast changing business environment as that of today. Now, the use of planning in with the continuous changes, the changes could be in terms of political issues, economic issues, or it could be in any field such as social, religious, cultural, technology. Now when all such elements in which a business is doing its activities, when these things changes very fastly, now the question is that how important can planning be? If I plan today for for some activity that has to be done after 3 months, will that be valid until then? So planning has is open to so many doubts in the current situation. So, in view of such changes, could be the plans, the policies, and the procedures that the organization comes up with. It always has to be revised from time to time or on a continuous basis. Now, if we do not move along with the times and perpetuate the status quo arrangements, then there are chances that the organization might miss the opportunities. Now, there can be so many examples if we go through where it proves that there are very huge businesses which have refused to accept the changes very fast and have shut down because of the same reason. Now at the same time there could be some attempt to get along with the changing pace. Now if we keep on changing the contents of the plan time and again, then such changes might prove to be counterproductive or useless. It can also be in result in things such as the organization could neither be here nor could be there. So adjusting according to the situation becomes very much important. Because of this very fast changing environment, usually the organization is caught between two extremes. That is, one is very rigid planning, one is very flexibility way of planning. So, where to go? What the organization has to do? Now, how can somebody plan in changing environment? Now there are some arguments for both, whether planning is useful, whether planning is when it changes whether it is useful or whether it is not useful. So the argument regarding planning is not useful is that first point that we can consider is the future is always uncertain. You cannot predict what happens next. You can plan based on past what has happened. You might, predict that yes, it can happen, but you never know. there are a lot of chances that what you predicted might not happen at all. So, always planning for the future will require careful things to be considered. Planning for the future is always requires things to be taken, very carefully, analyze it, then decide on it. The next argument could tell that planning is not a sure bet. That is to tell, planning will never guarantee you the success. You can predict that the best thing can happen, but you can never be sure that it definitely happens. And there is also this argument which tells that being reactive is better than proactive. That is to tell, once after you know what has happened, it is better to take steps after that than predicting it before. Because once certain event happens, you know exactly what has happened. But when you predict, there would be so many possibilities what might happen, and you would never know whether you have to react for that or how would you be taking steps in such cases. Okay. Now then, there is also this argument that in case of emergency situation, planning will always be useless. Now some arguments as against of this, which tells that planning is always beneficial for the organization even when things do keep on changing in the environment. Now, the argument speaks that yes, the future is uncertain, but planning will always ensure informed anticipation of the future. That you can, it might not be totally you would be ready, but then there are chances that the possibility of the organization to future all these unpredictable events might be little bit better when you plan. And the second argument speaks of it is always better to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Now, it is said that it is okay if you are unable to plan in a right way until that particular time where you learn from your mistakes and the next time you plan in a better way. Because this argument tells that proactive learning will always let you think in a very disciplined way. As proactive planning will lessen confusion or what is called as useless action or haphazard actions in the organization. This argument also tells that, instead of accepting the future, we can make future ourselves for the organization. Now, speaking of that, there is also this concept which tells of that What are the benefits of planning in an uncertain corporate world? Because than any other kind of business, it is in the corporate world where the environment is very much uncertain than compared to other kind of business organization. In such a case, planning will always help managers to think about the future with utmost attention, caution, and seriousness. Now, it forces especially those who plan to look into the future, analyze it, evaluate each of the possible impact of the different factors on the organization, its functioning, and the profitability of the organization. And after analyzing all these things, the planners or the ones who have to come up with such plans, they develop a plan which will always contain, some inbuilt escape routes if at all the organization faces any kind of problems or troubles. Now, in an uncertain, corporate world, planning also helps managers in minimizing their risk, which will always arise out of uncertain events that can happen in the future. Now, it also helps manager to lessen or completely eliminate the threats the environment, might make the organization face by turning all the capacity of the organization into different new areas. Now, this environmental uncertainty will always make planners more cautious. Now, they will always keep everything ready so that in case their plans do not succeed or in case the plans go off track, they shall be ready with alternative plans or any other alternative course of action. Now, planning helps managers face all such future challenges with determination and also with some kind of courage. And it is also said that proactive planning pays very well off in the long run. Now, planners, no doubt they cannot control the future, but they should attempt to identify and also isolate present action and their result that can be expected to affect the organization in the future in one way or the other. Now, instead of trying to solve the problem as it is faced, they must always try to find out the threats and the opportunities that are present in the environment and also prepare the organization to face them in as much better way or as much systematic way as possible. So, having said all these things, planning is not simply an attempt wherein you can predict the future. Now, it is also an element where you can control it. So, what we can tell is that planning is a deliberate attempt to influence, exploit, and bring about the control, the nature, direction, extent, speed, and effect of change. So, all these things we have to keep in mind when we plan in a changing environment as that of today's business world. Now, the next topic is primacy of planning. or planning comes before anything else. Now, why so much of importance to that? Why planning is the foundation of management? Now, the answer for all this question is that planning provides the basis from which all the future activities in the management or in the organization shall arise. Now, without determining these activities by planning, an organization will have nothing to organize. There shall be no one to motive, and because of this, there shall be no need to control. That's why planning logically shall always precede the other activities of the management. Now, planning is the means for all organized actions in the organization. Now, planning is also one of the important prerequisite or what is called as the base or the first thing, especially in case of or in fields such as controlling things in the organization, because unplanned actions can never be controlled, or any attempt to control without planning shall always be meaningless. Now, planning process must always be conducted in the right relation to the needs the control asks for. Now there is a set of ideas regarding why planning is important has been given by Nutz. Now he tells that planning has a unique role to play in the performance of each and other functions of the management. Now, it should be noted that various functions of the management are interconnected in such a way that no one function can exist without the other. Either they all are present, they exist interconnected, or they do not exist at all. And moreover, if we take the control function, now all the data or the information which are being supplied by controlling activities are always used to a greater extent in the coming plans or the smaller plans and subsequent plans. Now, the idea of the primacy of planning speaks that planning comes first, or primacy of planning over all other managerial activities such as could be organizing, staffing, directing, policy making and controlling, because none of these functions can come into being until there is a plan. Now, planning is the one thing which provides purpose and also incentive to the efforts of all those in the organization. Now, without this, work becomes aimless and wasted, and there shall always be morale decays. Now, all these points gives, or the all these points supports the view that planning is comparatively or relatively more important than other managerial functions for the successful functioning of the organization. Now, this could be on one side. On the other side, poor performance in any of the planned area is also undesirable. Now, planning errors in go to the very heart of the organization. Now, serious mistakes or omissions in planning can never be rectified by effective organizing or controlling. Now, there is a management thinker called as Terry. He tells that no manager can organize, actuate, and control successfully over a period of time unless he has plan. So, all these points speaks about why planning is relatively important compared to other management activities, even though they are interconnected to one another and cannot exist in not happening of the other. Now, the next topic is where we discuss regarding the limitations of planning. That is to tell, up until this point, we said what is plan, why is it important, how does it helps an organization. Now, if there are so much benefits, is it that planning does not has any disadvantage, or is there is no negativity of planning? Is it that planning is always helpful for the organization? Now, speaking about this topic, what we can tell is that planning is not always on the positive side. It is not always on the credit side of the ledger. Now, it is not only the end for all the organization. Now, because no matter how better you plan, it could be the more best one out of everything, but then simply planning or mere planning does not guarantee any kind of success, because it is never an substitute for human action and judgment. Plan can only be successful with the incorporation of human action and human judgment. So some of the limitations of planning is, first one we can speak regarding the rigidity of planning. Now usually when an organization or somebody plans, there is some kind of rigidity. That is to tell, the organization has to do whatever has been mentioned, whatever is planned, that itself has to be done. There is no opportunity for anybody there to change what has been planned. Now everything shall be, set in detail, and deviations shall never be permitted. Usually, new opportunities in the environment shall be either ignored or it shall be totally rejected, because the organization has already committed itself for the existing plans. Now, once all such plans, procedure, rules are established, it shall become, part in the enterprise. It shall be part of the organization's way of doing business, and changing them may sometimes become an impossible task on the whole. That is to tell, events might change, but plans may remain fixed for an organization. Now, managers too would be, very reluctant to reorient their plans suitably, because planning, no matter what we tell, after all it is a hard mental work, and no executive or no individual would like to disregard the earlier hard worked plans or old plans in favor of the new ones, even if the circumstances ask for, because a mindset has already been established, and maintaining a fresh and objective viewpoint will always be difficult. Now the second limitation is that planning is always costly, and also it is time consuming. Now planning is costly It is expensive in terms of how much time a planner spends behind planning or how much time he takes to formulate the plans. Now, the manpower required to do the planning and also the resources, the physical resources, the human resources, or any other resources that is necessary to execute these plans is also costly. Now, the collection of information or the analysis of the alternatives, now the selecting the suitable course of alternatives will always consume lot of time of the executive and also lot of organizational resources. Now there could be also limitation from the side of the employee or what we call as employee resistance. Now it goes without telling that no matter what plan the organization comes up with, now the successful operation of all these plans needs people who can operate it, who can understand it, and who has the ability to make these plans happen. Now, one of the frequent complaints that is made against planning process is that it shall always be done by specialists who will never have any kind of touch with the operations. And because of this, operating people who shall not be involved in planning always tend to resist the process of planning because they have this mindset where they think that planning is imposed from above, and this mindset often leads to a resistance from those people who are being forced to execute it. Now, the next possible limitation could be planning might lead to false sense of security. That is to tell, now there could be an organization which has come up with a very good elaborated planning, and because of this, it might create a false sense of security in the organization. The managers may start thinking that all the problems in the organization has been well taken care of. Now they might assume that as long as the organization is committed to the plans, there shall be no any problem. And because of such assumption, they usually fail to take note of environmental changes and the necessity to review, restructure, rechange, or reorient the old plans in the appropriate way for the organization.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Please
tell
change the
me.
slide, ma'am.
Yes. I'm unable to
Hello.
hear. Can you speak a little bit clearly?
Ma'am, the slides are not
Second,
changing.
Okay, wait a second. Are you able to see it now? Whether you are able to see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if there are any problem, do let me know. Do stop me in between and tell, because it is Google Classroom. I would be unable to see the chat box. And whoever said, thank you very much for the information. I hope I can continue with what we were discussing. Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So now the next possible limitation of planning is it can create managerial deficiency. That is to tell, planning without telling, it is always intellectual work. Now, since managers are always assessed on the basis of result of such plans, usually they begin to, not give so much attention to long range plans and they usually start adopting short range plans which will always be benefiting them or which shall put them in a very comfortable position. Yes, the managers shall be benefited because of them adhering to the short range plans. But this might usually harm organization in the long run. And also, it goes without telling that planning involves a lot of paperwork and also hard mental effort or what we call as mental labor. Now, most of the managers would never like to go through such a hard, painful process of work. Now, and because of this, they might choose among those alternatives which might be easy to work out. Now, this can be one part of managerial deficiency. Now, the other argument could be that now these managers or these individuals who have to come up with plans for the organization, they might be lacking the specific skills that are necessary. And in such case, the usefulness or the utility of the planning shall be seriously reduced because plans are always good, only plans are always good as the people who plan. The better the planners, the better shall be the plan. And because of all these reasons, managerial deficiency usually comes between formulating the good plans and appropriate plans and developing the right climate in the organization. Now, there is also this limitation of this argument where some of them are of the opinion that planning usually prevents innovation because once you plan, it demands commitment to what has been planned, what has been written, what has been said in the plans, procedures, and rules. Now, it usually restricts a manager, unnecessarily to defined areas. Now, the executive is always prevented from what is called as experimenting with new ideas or taking opportunity of venturing into a very risky but possibly a profitable areas and exploring the untested elements or the new areas. And thereby the managers, even though they are having skills, they are having knowledge, because of the commitment that they have to make towards the already existing plans, they might not get the opportunity to take advantage of the new elements that are present. Now, these could be the direct ones. Now, there are some of the external limitations also. Usually, this plan is called as a ritual, or to tell in this fast changing environment, rather than being necessary. Planning is limited to what is called as a ritual, and this particular statement, subscribes to the fact that planning is usually an empty academic exercise in the current situation of highly turbulent environment and a highly competitive environment, because the first reason could be it is future is always difficult to predict. Now it is difficult for planners to maybe forecast economic conditions, what government policies could be possibly in the future, the competitive behavior of the competitors, or even the human behavior with any amount of accuracy. Now, planning basically depends on a whole set of assumed conditions which probably can happen, but there could be no surety that even a percent of it can happen. Only when all these assumptions that the planners make, are possibly to happen, then there are chances that planning might be beneficial. Otherwise, it shall always be a useless mental activity. Now, the next argument could be it projects too far into the future. That is to tell, the reliability of planning efforts is always open to doubt because they are projected further into the future, further into future, to that point of extent where usually the ones who plan or the managers shall have no control over all the environmental forces. Now, one such external limitations could also be the environmental turbulence. That is to tell, future is target, but then we should never forget the fact that future is a moving target. Now, it may not be possible to anticipate future changes accurately and provide for them in plans, because uncertainty and unpredictability are always the hallmarks of business environment. And this uncertainty and unpredictability shall always reduce or bring down the usefulness of planning and also forecasting. And with the environment, we have this element also with connection to competition. And this competition always has the capacity to turn the best possible plan into simply a waste paper. And there are other elements in the environment, such as the economy, the political, and the technological environment. And in all these elements, the changes happens continuously, and the revaluation in these elements usually forces the corporate planners to review the plans day in and day out. Now, sometimes there is a revision in plans even before they can be implemented. And in this phase of a very, highly volatile and turbulent environment, these plans they can become absolute documents and fail to guide the destiny to the organization. And then we have this one more element regarding the external limitation, that is regarding the emergency situation. Now, usually the utility of planning shall be brought still more down by this emergency situation. Now, the emergency situation, in the sense, it could be in the form of strikes, lockouts, industrial disasters, or it can also be in the face of what we are facing now in such kind of pandemic. And whatever we have planned, now these plans can be completely upset, and decisions might be made hand to mouth because of all such things or all such emergencies. Now, speaking of this, arguing so much against planning, we can tell that it is true that planning is, will never give you a guaranteed success. Now, in a fast changing environment, it reduces the accuracy of planning efforts and also forces that these plans are revised, sometimes maybe even before implementation. But then one should always remember that it is only difficult, but it is never impossible to forecast future changes. Once an individual or once an organization is able to plan for contingency, necessary steps can always be taken to minimize the impact of all these unfavorable market conditions. That is to tell, impact shall definitely be there. But when you compare a situation where you have planned as against that of situation where you have not planned, in a situation where you have planned, the impact of this unfavorable things can be always minimized. Now, it is no use reacting to the crisis and as and when they arise. That is to tell, you should always be proactive, then being reactive. Now, when events are left to chance, there shall be no opportunity for an organization to survive in such competitive world. Now, any good plan has built-in contingencies and will always have several alternatives to pick among them. Now, the actual benefit or payoff in the planning will arise from the search and identification of contingency only. Now, the search causes planners to consider the impact of non recurring events and evaluate their potential influence on the organization as and when event takes place. Now, the organization is always happily placed to face such challenges. Now, instead of simply steering a blind course, the planners shall always have something to fall back upon and weather out all the storms or the challenges in the environment. Now, having said all these things, the greatest payoff or the greatest benefit of planning is that it will always help a manager to command the future instead of getting commanded by it. So, this is all about some of the things regarding planning, the limitations. Now, there are chances that you might never be asked specifically what is limitations of planning or what is benefits of planning. Now, all these topics are for you to understand what is plan, why it is necessary, what possibilities are there if planning does not happen. When you shall be asked questions in a different way where you will have to be intelligent enough how you would be able to bring all these ideas in your answer. Okay. Now, having said different things and having discussed different elements of planning, the next topic is that what could be the possible things in an organization which can make planning a effective one? Now, as you can see in the PPT, these are some of the elements which can make planning effective. The first element is climate. Now, this speaks of that in an organization, a plan should never be left to a chance. And adding to this fact, conducive climate or the necessary working climate must be provided in an organization so that activities that are meant to happen can proceed smoothly and also systematically in an organization. Now, it is the duty of the top managers that they should try to remove all the obstacles that can be faced in planning, and this can be done by establishing clear cut goals or by making planning realistic, and also by giving required information and also some assistance to all the staffs at different levels in the organization. Now, the second element that we can pick,
Ma'am, the
yes,
slides are not changing again.
maybe due to the network problem, you might be able to see it once the network is proper. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, okay. The next one is the top management support. That is to tell, planning should always start at the top. Now it must always receive attention of the top management continuously. And those who are there in the top management, they must be willing to always extend a helping hand whenever it is required in the organization. Without their support, there are less chances that a plan can become effective. It can be workable, but with the help of the top management, it can always be effective. Now, the third element that we can pick regarding the participation. Now, the question is participation of whom? Now, one thing we should remember is plans are always implemented by people. Now, because of this, it is always necessary to secure acceptance and also commitment from those people who are into the activity of implementing them. Now, one of the way to increase commitment is to bring together even the subordinates in the planning process. Now, planning comes alive when employees are involved in setting goals and determining the means to reach them. Now, the next element is communication. Now, this communication tells that it could be goals of the organization, it could be the premises where the working condition shall be set up. It could be the policies of the organization. Now, all these things must be properly said or communicated to the people. That is to tell who has to do what should be clearly said to those. Now, people must know what they are supposed to do, when is that they'll have to do, how shall they be doing it, and where is that they shall be doing it. Now, the time limits must also be communicated in advance. And such proper communication will always make planning effective. Now, the next element is integration. Now, integration is nothing but bringing together. Now, different plans. Now, when we plan in an organization, it is not that there shall be only one plan. There will be hundreds and thousands of plans. Now, different plans must be properly balanced, and also it should be integrated. Now, the plans should be integrated in such a way that they must support each other and should not work at cross purpose. That is to tell, one plan should not be defeating the other. Now, every attempt should be made to ensure that the payoffs of the planning are more than the cost involved. That is to tell, what benefit the organization shall be getting from each of the plan should be more than what cost it has to bear to make such plans workable. And one other element which makes planning effective is monitoring. Now, whom to monitor or what to monitor? Now, when we tell monitoring here, it is that plants must be always monitored. That plants must be subjected to regular appraisal and review. Now, appraisal is not that always it is on the favorable side. Appraisal is nothing but you analyze what it is. Now, appraisal and review of plans should happen on a continuous basis so as to take note of all the changes that are happening both internally in the organization and externally in the environment. And it is always said that in monitoring or in planning, it is always better to keep a plan as flexible as possible. Now, I guess it's been an hour. Take a break of 5 minutes and you can come after 5 minutes and we shall discuss some relating topics of the planning in our next class. Welcome back to this session of modern organization and management. In our last session, we were discussing regarding the planning, effectiveness of planning. or how can a plan be effective? Now, here is one such topic which speaks about how should planning be in a learning organization. Now, before discussing how should planning be in a learning organization, it becomes important for us to understand what is this learning organization or why is that we have to discuss regarding this. Now, one fact is that the way the organization works or the way the activities are conducting in an organization in the current situation is very much different than of the earlier situation. Earlier it used to be such that one used to plan, the other had the work of executing or executing. But now the organization is such that you know in the organization, every one of them shall be involved. Everyone in the organization, they try to identify what are the different problems that an organization can possibly face, and they also try solving those problems. And when everybody in an organization does that, it will always help the organization, it will always enable the organization to do things continuously or to do continuously experiment on the new things, innovate things, improve them, and by doing all these things, they shall be able to make the organization to increase its capacity. And in telling so, learning organization is one such organization in which everyone is identifying and solving problems, enabling the organization to continuously experiment, improve, and increase its capability. Now, when we speak about this capability, what possible capability are we speaking here? Here, capability can be in terms of the organization growing, the organization to learn new things, and also to achieve its purpose in a better way. Now, in a learning organization, the essence of the idea or the essential idea is that a learning organization shall always mean to, you know, it shall always try to solve the problem as against of the traditional organization, where traditional organizations are designed only for the efficiency. Now, there has been six different rules or six different concepts given how planning shall work in an learning
Ma'am,
organization. Yes, hello.
the slide, it's still in effective planning.
The slide, my slide is in different one, maybe because of the
Now,
network
now
issue.
it's changed. Now it's proper. Now it's proper.
Okay. Now is it visible properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, speaking of these six rules, the first one is strong mission. Now, we have already discussed what is mission of an organization. Now, this mission should be strong. Now, the question is what makes a mission strong? Now, whatever the mission the organization comes up with, definitely they think of it as the one such policy or rule which is the base for the organization. organization, the best possible one for their organization. Now, having said that, what again this, I mean, the idea regarding this strong mission, or what is this? Now, when we speak of strong mission, it tells that the commitment from the side of employee and also the involvement from the side of employees are important in helping companies to combat itself, in the rapidly changing today's world. Now, a mission will serve to increase employee commitment and also motivation, as well as it also offers a guide for planning and decision making. Now, if we see in the practical world, most of the successful companies, we can take any of the examples such as could it be Walmart or Johnson's and Johnson, Infosys, Hindustan Liver, any company. All such successful companies, they are always guided by what is called as core ideology, or what we can tell as the values and a sense of purpose. And such sense of purpose, they usually go beyond just making money, and also they provide a guide for appropriate behavior of the employees in the organization. So the mission the organization comes up with should be such that it should give attention more than just bringing money to the organization. It should be such a mission where it can make the lives of the humans in a, in the most best possible way from its side. The next rule is to stretch goals. Now, what is this stretch goals? Now, to define stretch goals, they are the ones, or they are one such goals of an organization which are highly ambitious, and such goals should also be clear. They shall be compelling and imaginative in concept and can be functionally workable. And also, it makes the organization progressive. Now, such stretch goals, it shall always compel everyone to think in new ways. That is to tell, we can take the example of Motorola company. Now, the stretch goal of Motorola company was to improve quality, and because of this, they did all other things and thus became successful. Now, usually the leaders of the market, they first set a goal of tenfold increase in quality over maybe 2 year of time period. Now, once this goal was met by the organization, they usually set a new stretch goal of 100-fold improvement in quality, maybe over 4 years. Now, the next one is learning environment. Now, speaking about learning organization and learning environment, now in an organization or in an all learning organization, the employees shall be such that they do not stick on to the past limitations. They question the status quo, and constant questioning usually opens the gates for creativity, innovation, and also learning and experiment. The next one is vital information. Now it is said that in a learning organization, those experts who are into the activities of planning, they should focus more on gathering vital information from different quarters, or to tell from different elements in the environment. Now than simply looking for the right answer, they usually should offer information with a view to broaden the consideration of issues and also support strategic thinking. Now, the fifth rule of learning organization tells that improvement, it speaks of improvement, and it tells that improvement should become a way of life in the organization. That is to tell, participation in the planning effort in an organization will always encourage employees to continuously learn and grow, and thus help the organization always improve its capability. And the last speaks that planning, even to this date, starts and stops at the top. It tells that top management shows the way, it clarifies goals, clears the paths, and implements certain plans. Now, it is the top management which will always have to take the final responsibility, and most of the time responsibility for failure, rather than getting appreciated for the success. And when this can happen, a learning organization can always do better. Now this is all the topics under the second chapter until, we discussed until now, are for you to understand what plan is. Okay. Now the next topic is regarding forms of planning. Now forms of planning, or you can tell as types of planning. Now there is no any compulsorily that you take the first one to be the first one, second one is the second one. Now these are just types. You can write each one as different. You can take into consideration where you can compare one over the other, or that is to tell, you can take the concept as long range planning. You can tell what it is, where it is useful, or you can also take into consideration where you can compare, that is the long range versus short range. So it depends upon you how you want to present it. What I shall do is, I shall tell you each of the type, what it is, where it shall be used, what are its features. Now, before discussing the type of planning, what we should remember is that even though the basic process of planning for each of the type of manager or each of the type of planning is same, yet planning can take many forms and also styles in practice. That is to tell, there are plans which may be undertaken in a very elaborated way, or there are also plans which can be done in a limited manner. It can be done by a galaxy of intellectual using modern forecasting techniques, or it can also be undertaken in a seat of the pants manner by the number of executives sharing their thoughts over just a cup of tea. Now, planning may begin at the top, with the executives deciding on the targets and passing down them for implementation. Or there are also chances that it might be undertaken in a participative manner where all the employees are included, inviting people designated at various levels to join with the constructive ideas and useful suggestion. So there are many forms and varieties of planning. Now the planning practice further are likely to differ from one organization to another. Now one useful way of looking at the whole aspect is nothing but just to differentiate between long range planning and short range planning, or this short range planning can also be called as operational planning, and the long range plan can also be called as strategic planning. Now other forms of planning what we have mentioned, this is just for your academic purpose. Usually in an organization when we speak of, either it shall be a long range plan which we can connect to the strategic plan, or the plan shall be a short range plan what we can consider as operational planning. And the moment we speak about operation planning, it is nothing but the plans that are used to do the day to day activities. Okay. Now, speaking of all these things, the first one we can discuss is regarding the long range plans. Now, what are this long range plan? What is it? Now, to tell it in very simple words, long range plans are the plan usually that covers many years and affects many departments or divisions of an organization in a major way. That is to tell, it shall not be completed within a span of 12 months or 24 months. It shall affect the different departments in the organization, and the effect shall be in a major way. Okay. Now, speaking of this, now this long range planning usually covers, as we said, a long time period. Now, if I have to give a number, now this long time period could be anything more than that of 5 years. Now it includes, the formation of overall broad objective and also the selection of appropriate means by which the objectives of the organization can be achieved. Now, this long range planning is usually quite common in stable industries, such as, it could, to give an example, it could be steel, public utilities, and automobiles. Now, usually, if we take into consideration India, the public sector companies, generally they adopt the, national planning period of 5 years. Now, if we have to speak of long range planning, this long range planning is usually set of series of interrelated steps. Now, that is to tell long range planning, when you have to come up with that, there are different steps how you do it. The first and the basic step is that the organization should estimate the international situation, the national situation, and the local situation. Now, all these things will help the organization for the possible future, to understand the possible future changes that might take place in areas especially which are external to an organization. Now, the second step here is that the organization has to define the goals that are to be pursued by the organization, and also it has to speak about the philosophy that the organization adopts. Now, once it analyzes the environment, once it settles down the goals, the philosophy of the organization, the third thing that long range planning usually does is that it usually tries to answer the very simple question of the organization: where are we now? And to answer this question, there should always be an objective assessment. Now, objective is something where an element can be specific. Now, in the objective assessment, it speaks about the degree of success that the organization is accomplishing in terms of the goals that it has set for itself. And it can be done on a day to day basis. Now, once after it understands where is it right now, the next thing it does is it tries to attempt to find out both the strong and also the weak spots of the company programs. Now, once it try to understand this, it can also try to understand information on all the different other elements, such as it could be sales, selling expense, production targets, capital inflow, or any other element of the organization. Now, the deficiency the organization has and the problems that are that are being faced are to be rectified properly. Now, once after all these four steps are done, now the organization can be a full blown program of long range planning, and these plans shall be developed and approval shall be asked for its adoption in the organization. And the last thing that is done is once after getting the approval, the long range plans shall be concerned with making those plans workable and thereby reduce any kind of confusion, and also to achieve some measure of specificity. Now, usually the entire long range planning, it is divided into action plan, which are intermediate between the different plans, and short term plans, especially for the sake of convenience and easy implementation of all the different plans that are being accepted or that are being approved. Okay. Now, speaking about this long range plan, one thing that is to be necessarily discussed is the fact about uncertainty. The uncertainty and the reason for the long range planning. Now, because we do not know future, it poses the element of uncertainty in the organization. Now, this long range planning is always necessary for an organization, you know, because precisely we cannot forecast the uncertain future. Now, planning is essential even though eventuality for which plans are prepared might not likely to occur. That is to tell, it is not foolishness to stop military planning simply because the planner must operate under conditions of uncertainty. And this particular concept is, you know, true in both the sides, especially in the case of organization. That is to tell, for a failure to plan may have serious consequence on the organization and growth in the future. Now, the business executives should not always, just react to the situation. Even in the times of emergency and adversity, long range planning shall always stand important. Now, it is important because planned contraction of operation usually is less costly and also less disruptive than a makeshift concentration. And also, it is true that accurate planning beyond 1 year is always difficult, and long range plans are very likely to be changed before completion. But then, whatever may be the pros, benefits, or whatever limitation the long range plans has, they definitely serve a purpose in setting up, an orderly approach to the problems of long range growth of the company. And there is also this fact that the result of taking a short term perspective can prove very much costly or severe for an organization. Now, one more thing when we discuss regarding long range plan that we have to remember is that long range planning does not mean forecasting, because forecasting is of little use to planners who usually seek to direct their organization into future. Forecasting does not provide an adequate basis even for purely adaptive behavior. And the answer for all this confusion will always be with the long range planning. Now, this long range planning is much more than just mere projection of trends. Now, long range planning is specifically that activity of the company which sets the long range goals for the firms and then proceeds to formulate specific plans for attaining these goals. Now, long range planning attempts typically to answer the question what must occur, what must the company do today to be ready for the uncertainties of tomorrow's. Or to put it simple, now long range planning will always tell you what is that you'll have to do if you want to be the gold medalist of your course in when your convocation day comes. It is as simple as that. Now, this is possibly enough for long range planning. The next one we can speak is of short range planning. Now, what is this short range planning? Now, since we have discussed already the long range planning, short range plannings can be quite opposite of what we have already discussed. So, short range planning usually covers a period of 1 to 12 months, but then you cannot limit the time. Usually, it depends upon the nature of business, and usually what traditions are prevailing in the industry. For one of the industry, what serves as short range or short time period could be long for the other. Now they are usually made in specific, and also these short range plans are made in detailed manner. Usually their importance or their attention shall be on the flexible budget, on the goals and the targets that are being set clearly and precisely in the organization. And the main focus of short range planning shall always be efficiency rather than effectiveness. Now, if I'll have to remember you all, efficiency is doing things right, effectiveness is doing the right things. So, efficiency is nothing but what right things you have decided, do them correctly. That shall bring efficiency. So, short range plans shall always concentrate on that. And to make
Ma'am,
bring, yes,
slide has not changed, ma'am. It's still in the like 20 seconds slide still.
can you tell the slide? Name, I mean,
It's still in the six rules of like six rules of planning and learning. Still there.
I do not know why it is not changing. Here it is definitely
Now it's changing.
changing. Okay. Maybe I'll have to not make it, for the entire screen. Is it visible? Is it enough for you all to
Now
see?
it's, uh, now it's fine, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Now, speaking about this short range planning, to bring this efficiency, these short range plans usually gather information, evaluate all alternatives, and select the most suitable course of action. Now, this short range planning are also called as operative plans. Now, these operative plans provide content and form things to long range plans. Or, in other words, we can tell that in fact, it is short range planning is nothing but an extension of long range corporate plans. Now, to give an example, it could be market plans, production plans, and financial plans are some of the examples of operating plan. Now, having discussed regarding long range plan and short range plan, both, long range planning and short range planning are nothing but just an expression of breadth of planning periods. Now, the terms short term and long term sometimes present an erroneous picture because people generally associate short term with a very narrow perspective and long term with a broad view. Now, one more thing that has to be remembered is regarding the time dimension of planning. Now, this time dimension of planning cannot be reduced to simplified expressions such as short term or long term. Now, the time span usually varies depending on many of the factors in the organization, like the characteristics of the industry, what is the demand in the market, the availability of the resources, and the skills, the environmental complexities that are there. That is to tell what may appear to be long range planning in case of one company may turn out to be short range planning in case of other. Now here is one of the slide which speaks about some of the difference that can possibly be some of the points wherein which we can differentiate between long range planning and short range planning. First one is regarding time. Here they are telling that long range planning is anything which is 5 years or more. Short range are the ones which covers up to 1 year. Now, usually the long range plans, it deals with the mission, long term goals and strategies, and the short ones are with the day to day activities of the organization. Now, the long range usually links the organization with the external factors, and the shorter ones integrates the departments of the organization. Now, usually, in terms of impact, long range planning usually asks for changes in the structure, resource allocation, or in other words, the major decisions or the major impact shall be result of a long range planning. Usually the short range planning it operates within the existing structure and the resources that are existing in the organization. Now speaking about uncertainty under long range planning, the level of uncertainty is very much high and speaking of short range planning, here since the time is limited, the risk associated with uncertainty level is low. But then, here remember one thing uncertainty shall be present for both short range plans and long range plans. What here they have expressed is just the fact that when you compare short range as against of long range planning, than the uncertainty that is faced by long range planning, the ones that are being faced by short range plannings are lesser. But uncertainty is definitely present for both the kinds of plans. Now usually long range plans are prepared by top level management and short range plans are prepared by lower level management. Now there are some other types of planning. Now whatever now we try to understand, it is just the different types that has been mentioned. Usually as we discussed earlier in an organization, it shall be either long range planning or what we can call as strategic planning, or we have short range planning or what we can call as operational planning. Now except for this two, what other plannings, they're just for the academic purpose what we are trying to understand. Now speaking about this strategies, strategic planning. Now what is it? What can possibly be a strategic planning? Now strategy shall always refer to an idea, a plan and support that the organization puts into action to compete successfully against its competition. Now, strategy will always mean to help the organization to gain its competitive advantage. Now, having said that, what is this competitive advantage? What do we mean by that? Now, competitive advantage is nothing but what allows an organization to gain edge over its rivals. That is to tell, when we speak of competition, it is nothing but it shall be definitely between two equals. Only then there can be a competition. So, having said that, what is this competitive advantage? Now, there shall be some element even between the competition which might help the organization do something better than what their competitors can never do, and all such elements acts as competitive advantage. Now, having said that, a strategic planning usually is nothing but a general plan which outlays the decision of resource allocation, priorities that are to be given, and the actions or the action steps which are necessary to reach all the strategic goals. Now, unlike the short term planning, the strategic plan usually involves a greater time frame, and they deploy, a major portion of organization resources. They shall always have a huge scope or wide spectrum of activities that would be coming under this plans, and they will always impact the organization in a major way. Now, basically, strategic planning is planning which is conceptually and functionally long term. It is wide ranging and shall always be critical to organization structures. Having said that, in terms of cost of resources, it usually affects and of the outcomes it envisions. Now, these are some of the characteristics of strategic and operational planning. Once again, the features could be in terms of time horizon. A strategic or a long range plan is 5 years or more, operational is within a year. Now, as we discussed earlier, the purpose when it is long run, it is to adapt itself for the external environment, and the operational ones to incorporate the elements in the organization. And the activities under strategic plans are total institutional performance. For operational plans, it is always internal task and operation. Now, the range of decision strategic, normally longer ones, and for operational, it takes lesser time. Now, the level of organization that is involved or the level of management that is involved is strategic, the top level management is involved, under operational, middle and lower management is involved. Now, for planning, the basis for strategic plans are primarily regarding the judgment that has to be made on the past events and the future prediction. But for operational one, they shall be available of exact data and standards also shall be used. Now, regarding the predictability, there shall be uncertainty for strategic plans, and the operational plans are highly certain. Now, on the basis of the plans that are being made, the 25% of strategic plans can be accurate, and the operational plans can be within 2 or 3%. Now, under strategic, the planning and forecasting functions of the management proves to be important. Under operational, the controlling function of the management is being given highest importance. Now, under strategic planning, the outcomes of it shall be slight and contingency plans are necessary. For operational, it is almost complete and single option plans are used. Okay, what next we have is tactical or coordinative planning. Now, this tactical planning, coordinative planning, it can also be called as intermediate planning. It can be tactical, coordinate, or intermediate planning. Now, tactical plans. Now, as the word suggests, tactical, it is usually these kinds of plans are less detailed, even less detailed than that of short range plans. Now, they are only concerned with implementation of strategic plans by coordinating the work of different departments in the organization. They usually try to integrate various organizational units and try to bring commitment to strategic plans. Now, these intermediate plans are nothing but now based on the result that are obtained by implementing all the short range plans, usually a mid-term review is undertaken. Now, a moving average is usually obtained and the success or failure of all these short range or operational plans are assessed and a need for a readjustment shall be known. Now, this coordinative planning or intermediate planning thus helps in shifting the gaze whenever there shall be pitfall in the short range plans or long range plans. So, this is a way in between the two extremes that are there in an organization. Now, next, what we have is a formal plan and an informal plan. Now, as the name suggests, a formal planning is a written record to what the organization intends to do within a time frame. Now, the meaning itself tells that a formal plan shall always be well documented plan. Now, it shall be a written record. The record is made of usually, as we discussed, after a careful evaluation of all the relevant factors that will have a direct effect on the organizational function. Now, managers who are present in different levels of the management shall be involved in the formulation of such plans and also implementation of such plans. Now, all such formal plans, it is systematic and also these plans shall be rational in nature. As against of this, informal planning does not offer or it is never a written record and it shall always be carried without any kind of direction. Now, usually the thoughts or the managerial thoughts which cannot find any kind of expression on the paper are nothing but informal plans. Now, usually such plans encourage managers to run away from their responsibility. Now, it might also result in unhealthy tendencies like carelessness in planning and implementation of such plans or confusions, haphazard actions, loss of memory, and the direction might also be creeped. Now, usually the informal plans are to be followed as an exception in the organization rather than them being as a rule. Now, if we have to differentiate, the plans can be further divided into, uh, you know, functional planning and reactive planning, which we shall see in tomorrow's class, and some of the other topics like as obstacles in planning, planning and controlling, and some other things of planning. And in tomorrow's class, we shall begin with management by objective.